How's it going? Long time no see. I had a video to make. Probably should be making a lot more with everything going on, but you know, just trying to make do with what I can. But today, I wanted to talk about what we have in the news today. What we have in the news today is the Supreme Court is hearing a case on the Tennessee law banning gender affirming care for children, which I don't agree with the terminology there. I wouldn't call it gender affirming. If we were affirming these people's gender, we would be affirming what they were acknowledged as at birth. At birth, we can clearly tell what you are. We can very clearly tell if you're a man or a woman, and the very small percentage of people that are intersex. You're man or woman, in a very rare case, intersex. But even then, they're more predominantly one or the other. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to go into that because it's not even about that. Intersex is not the same as transgender. So let's go into this Axios article. Supreme Court on Wednesday will hear arguments in a pivotal transgender discrimination case surrounding whether Tennessee unconstitutionally banned gender-affirming care for minors. Well, like I said, gender-affirming care would be affirming the gender that they actually are, not the gender that they feel they are or wish to be. So I don't agree with the terminology there. Why it matters. 26 states have passed bans on gender-affirming care, and a ruling in Tennessee's favor could persuade more to do so, with major implications for trans youth. It is my belief, and this is an opinion video, this is not just news, I'm going over the news and I'm giving my opinion. It is my opinion that transgender-affirming care, however you want to say it, transgender care for minors should be banned all over the country. Not talking about adults. If you want to make arguments for adults, harming themselves because they want to. There's people that want to split their tongues. There's people that get all kinds of crazy piercings, tattoos, whatever. They're adults. They can do what they want, even if I don't agree with it, right? But we're talking about children. Children making lifelong, permanent decisions. We don't even let people drink, smoke, gamble. We don't let them do any of that till they're 21. But you can sign up for the military at 18. I don't agree with that either. I think all of that should be the same age. If 18 is the age to join the military, then 18 should be the age for gambling. It should be the age for smoking, drinking. It should be, or we can go the other way with it. You have to wait till you're 21 to join the military. It's ridiculous to me that we still have it that way. How is it that I can join the military at 18, fresh out of high school, but I gotta wait 3 years to go buy a drink at the bar? That doesn't make a lick of sense. Same thing with the cigarettes. I gotta wait 3 years to take a drag out of a cigarette. Ridiculous. But before I even hit puberty, I can sign up for all the steroids and hormones and double mastectomies. I can get all of it. I can get all that. But can't join the military yet. Can't smoke. Can't drink. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous to me. Regardless of how you feel about transgender adults, children are underdeveloped. They're idiots. They're ignorant. They don't know anything. I'm young. I barely know anything. How can I expect someone who's half my age to understand what they're going to want 30 years from now? I barely know what I want 5 years from now. I barely know what I want next year. It's crazy. It's honestly crazy that we're still having this discussion. There's still people that believe that trans children even exist. I don't believe they exist. I think they're just indoctrinated. I think they're confused, and I think they just need some explaining to, or they just need to go into a little bit more thought, and they'd be fine. But monologue. I went on a monologue there, but go back into this Axios article. So Axios, I'm assuming they're a little bit more left-leaning, or however you want to put it. They're more on the side of supporting transgender stuff, I'm pretty sure, because of their wording and the way they wrote the article. But let's see. So the arguments follow an election that emboldened Republicans to pursue more restrictions on trans rights, not just with respect to medical care, but in matters like accessing bathrooms in sports. Yes, you should only use the bathroom that you were born into. You shouldn't... I can't, as a man, decide one day that I am now a woman and then go infringe on other women's rights by inserting myself into their spaces. I don't have that right. I don't have the right to do that. Regardless of how I feel or would like to feel, you don't have the right to go and do that. It's ridiculous. And then the sports thing too. We only ever talk about trans. What is it? Trans women. We talk about trans women, which is men that wish to be women, right? We don't ever hear about trans men because there's no issue the other way around. If a woman becomes a man, or can't really, but let's say they do, right? A woman becomes a man and goes and plays sports, she's not going to dominate the field. Men, on average, are better at sports, physical sports. So a trans man, which is a woman, going into male sports it's not going to make headlines because she's not dominating men. But of course, you hear the inverse because trans women, which are men that want to be women, we hear all about that because men on average are better than women. They're stronger, they're faster, everything. I think the only thing that women beat men out on is if it's the long sprint. So like, what is it? Like basically they have more. They can go further, but men are still stronger. Something like that. I forget the specifics on it, but there was one category where women did outpace men just a little bit, but it was also comparing them to high school boys and not actual men. So I bet that would change if you were to compare men to women, not women to high school sports. But I'd have to find that again, maybe make another video about that. But medical groups, including the American Medical Association and the American Academy of Pediatrics, endorse gender-affirming care for minors diagnosed with gender dysphoria, and research shows it lowers depression and suicidality. No, it doesn't. I've heard that many times. I've seen that many times. There's not a whole lot of happy trans people I've seen. I spend a lot of time on Discord and the internet. I speak with people from all kinds of backgrounds. I love having conversation with people I disagree with. And most of the trans people I've ever had a conversation with are not happy. They're not happy. They're very depressed. I don't know about suicidality, but I've definitely seen that too. It definitely doesn't help. It might not make it worse, but it's not helping either. But I would argue that it makes it worse because depending on how far you go with it, you can have irreversible effects. You just look at Matt Walsh's movie, What is a Woman? They go into detail about all kinds of things, all the harms and stuff. I can ask my phone right now. I asked it the other day just because I was curious if Google would be honest or not. And I asked Google, I said, do we use drugs that castrate pedos or PDF files, the drugs that we use to castrate them, are they the same drugs used for puberty blockers? Google actually said yes. Google admitted that is the case. So how is it that we can use that drug to castrate PDF people, but it's not sterilizing children when we give it to children? Does that make sense? Does that make any sense? We can give it to those kind of people and it makes it to where it sterilizes them and they lose all drive to do anything. But we give it to children and it stops their puberty, but it won't sterilize them? Does that... I don't know about that. I don't know if I agree. And that comes into my argument about the suicidality and the depression. Is your depression going to worsen or is it going to improve having find out you have now sterilized yourself? Is it going to worsen or improve now that you've mutilated your most private area, or let's say you get the top section. I've seen plenty of detransitioners having to come to terms with now having had children and they can't breastfeed their own child because they went insane for some time and chopped off a part of themselves. It's horrifying, and I don't I genuinely do not understand how that is supposed to help someone. I genuinely don't. I know people that struggle with these issues about themselves, and usually what it comes down to is they were abused or they have, self-imaging issues, and instead of addressing those issues, they just try to be someone that they're not. And it's genuinely sad. It's genuinely sad to see that, and I don't know how to help these people, but what I do know is that this is not helping them. This is not helping them. Giving them affirmation in something that is false is not helping anyone. And the Supreme Court does need to uphold this ban. The Supreme Court needs to uphold this ban, because if they don't, all these other states are going to be, just continuing down this path. I'm expressing a lot of my opinion here. I love to talk. That's probably why I should make more videos. But, I don't like being wrong either. So if I ever say anything that's wrong, go to my Twitter. I will respond to you on Twitter. I'm a very insignificant person in the grand scheme of media. If you respond to me on Twitter, I'm gonna see it. I'm not big at all. So if I say something that's wrong or you have evidence to the contrary, I am more than happy to see it, and I will correct myself. But I don't think I'm wrong. So let me get back to the article. Let me also fix that light. I see that that's in the way. Okay, that should be better. Yeah, that's already a lot better. I'm very new to this, trying to work things out. It'll improve as time goes on. I don't have money for anything. I'm literally recording on my phone. I don't have a mic. I do have a mic, but I can't plug it into my phone. And my laptop is not great. So, working with what I can. I'm trying my best. But let's get back to the article. So, what they're saying makes this case even more high stakes than it was before, because really what we're going to find out is whether the court will provide a check on government actions that target trans people, said Gabriel Arklais, interim legal director of the Transgender Legal Defense and Education Fund. State of play. The Biden administration says Tennessee's laws preventing minors accessing medical treatment for gender dysphoria violates the Constitution's Equal Protection Clause. I would argue that it goes against the Hippocratic Oath, which is do no harm. You're literally and directly harming these people in the pursuit of what? Affirming a feeling? We're affirming feelings now? And the other thing, too, with this case, I don't really have to go much into the article. It's pretty basic. The Supreme Court is finally having a case on transgenderism, and it needs to rule against. It needs to rule against it. Because if it rules against it, then we can start pushing further. And if that's the case, I would love to see gender-affirming care banned just across the board, nationwide. I live in California, so that's very unlikely to happen anytime soon, but it is what it is, right? So, let's move on here. I did want to play a clip from Matt Walsh. I love Matt Walsh. He's one of the main people at the forefront of this fight, and I will play a clip from him in just a moment. Can't really see my laptop very well, but we'll figure it out. It's more the audio, and I'll link it down in the comments. But no, the Supreme Court does need to rule against the transgender stuff on this issue, because if it rules in favor of it, then states like California will get to continue doing what they want to do, and that is take your children away for not affirming a mental disorder. I don't have kids. I don't plan on having kids anytime soon. I'm not in a position to have children, but I can't imagine having children in a state where there's a possibility I have them taken from me simply because I won't affirm a mental disorder. That would be akin to taking someone's children away because the government found out one of the children have anorexia, and the parents are not affirming that anorexia. That's insane. It's insane to me. So, I don't need to drag this video on any longer. Let me get the comment from Matt Walsh, and then I'll comment on that and wrap the video up.
Now, the other side claims that this is a case about rights. They say that the Tennessee law infringes on the rights of so-called trans kids. There are a few problems with that claim. First of all, there's no such thing as a trans kid. That doesn't exist. Those kids are not trans. They are confused, and their confusion has been exploited by quacks and abusers. They are abuse victims. They are not trans kids. Second, the law in Tennessee isn't banning kids from doing anything. It's banning doctors from causing permanent damage to kids. This is a ban targeting doctors and parents who are abusive and who are themselves targeting children. So what the trans activists, what the people over there are actually claiming is not that kids have a right to be castrated, but that doctors have the right to castrate them. They are...
So, like he's saying there, I mean, basically what the left is arguing for in this situation is they're arguing that children can have informed consent, or consent in general. The children can consent, and they have informed consent. They know what they're consenting to. They know all the ramifications of what they're consenting to. That's the opposing argument. You get the other argument from the right, and what they'll say is that they're children. They don't know what they're agreeing to. They don't know what they want, and they're not ready to make that decision. That's what conservatives and people on the right are going to say. What's wrong with that? I thought that was a normal position to have. I thought it was a normal position to have, to say that children should not be able to consent. Children shouldn't be able to consent to anything. I thought there was consensus on that, but evidently there is not consensus on that, and I wish we would get back to having a consensus on that. And the consensus should be that if you're old enough to join the military, you're old enough to make decisions for yourself, and that includes drinking, smoking, piercings, cosmetic surgery, whatever the hell you want. It's a free country, right? But I wouldn't say we're free as going as far to say that children can consent. They can't, and they shouldn't be able to. I'll leave the video there, wrap it up there. Might make some more videos. I just wanted to get this one out because I feel very strongly about this issue, and I hope I informed some of you. The main wrap-up of this is the Supreme Court is hearing a case in Tennessee on whether or not to uphold the ban on gender-affirming care for minors. Or, in other words, giving children castration drugs that we also give to PDF files, along with a whole host of other things that the medical industry totally isn't profiting off of. Anyway, have a great day. Peace out. And like and subscribe. Peace.